Hey everyone, welcome to Soundipity. Tonight, I'm absolutely pumped to chat with the incredibly resilient Michelle Manning, an author who's turned her own life pivot into fuel from some truly gripping stories. 5 books. To start it, she was born in Pittsburgh and uprooting to South Carolina at just 2 years old. Michelle knows all about adapting, bouncing back, and finding strength in change. She's channeled that into 5 powerful books that dive deep into the emotions that hit home: complicated family ties, unexpected inheritances, high stakes corporate drama, mysteries with real twists, heartfelt romance, and even those profound spiritual moments that make you ponder life after loss. Her characters feel so real because they wrestle with love, grief, ambition, and those curveballs life throws at you, full of emotion, surprises, and that quiet resilience we all admire. If you're into stories that pull all your heartstrings while keeping you at the edge of your seat, you're gonna love this conversation. Michelle, a huge welcome to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let me start with the first spark. So it was really great to go through your book and go through your submission form. It was really detailed and it told us so much. And there's so much we want to ask you today. But let's start with what first sparked your love for storytelling. Was there like a moment in your life that made you think, you know, I need to write this down?
I was the only child. My mother and father they divorced when I was really young. Hence me coming to South Carolina when I was 2. And when you're an only child, you kind of got to make things up all the time. Like you gotta play by yourself. You got to do the certain things. Now my dad had 2 other children, so a half sister and a half brother, but I wasn't always around them. I was just for the most part when I was small, it was just me, and then the friends that I went to school with. But storytelling, I don't. I've always loved documentaries. I started writing poetry before I ever started writing novels and stories. And I would take the emotions that I was having in that moment, and that's where I got my poetry from. And I've been writing that since probably I was, I don't know, 11 years old. Um, and
Wow.
actually, in the past like 3 years is when I started like really putting. I would always talk about writing a book, but I never like did anything about it. So I started writing everything down. Every idea that I had, I wrote down because I would always say to my husband, "Oh, this would make a great book. This would make a great story." So I started writing it down and then I started writing. I've got several stories right now that aren't even published that I haven't even thought about publishing, that some half done, some half not, some just ideas written down. And my mother didn't even know. She didn't have a clue what I was doing. She didn't even know I was into writing.
Right.
And when I sent her a text the morning that I published my first one, she was astonished. She was in shock, actually. She's very
Wow.
proud though, but, it just, being an only child really is what started it.
Makes absolute sense. Yes. And you did mention that in the submission that I would have seen that your dad taught you a powerful lesson when you were about like 5, that the real
Yes.
determination and willpower can achieve what you set out to do. So tell us
Yes.
about that and tell us how that shaped your life moving forward.
Well, okay, so I used to go, when my mom and dad, they didn't share custody, so I went to my dad's, like, in the summertime and on holidays. And, every summer, we would go up to visit, my dad's mom, and she lived in Meadville, Pennsylvania, and it's right by Conneaut Lake. And, Conneaut we would always go to Conneaut Lake Park. I remember being about 5 years old, and I remember my dad used to love his time with me, like, he would soak it up, you could just tell, I still remember that from being, young and only 5 years old. And, he wanted to take me down the water slide, and he wanted to ride it with me because he just wanted to have that moment. It was just me and him. It wasn't my other, his wife around. It wasn't anybody around, just me and him. And I went to stand beside how tall you have to be to ride the slide, and of course, I was too short. So, he was I could see the devastation in his face, and I still remember it till this day like it was yesterday, and it's funny how those memories stick with you, but, um, I remember having these little he had bought me these little wedge, like, high heel shoes. They weren't play shoes or anything like that, they were actual, like, sandals, like, just a wedge high heel,
Hmm.
and, when we went home, he said, "I know we're gonna go back tomorrow," he said, "and we're gonna take these, and you're gonna put these on, and you're gonna stand in front of that sign, and I know they'll let you go down this time." So we went
Cute.
back to Conneaut we went back to Conneaut, and sure enough, he stood me in front of that sign, and the man didn't even recognize that it was me from the day before that wasn't tall enough, and we went down that slide, and he was the happiest ever. Like, I just remember that being 5 years old, and it's just the determination of him wanting to do that and having that moment with me that he was willing to do whatever it took, and it stuck with me, my whole life, and whether somebody wants to read into it something else or this or that. That's what I took away from it, and that's
Right.
what made me feel like I can do anything, but I haven't always lived by that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't always lived by that because I've had my ups and downs, but till today, I'm 45 years old, and I definitely live by that because 'cause I'm a lot wiser now than I was then. So,
Yeah, makes absolute sense. All right. And so you mentioned that you started like writing like considerably more recent than when you were like 5.
mhm,
So
mhm.
how did that still project after all these years? How did that affect your writing?
Um, being going through what I've went through, I'm gonna tell you an author that, really is another reason why I started, going ahead and putting them out there and, finishing some of them up so I could publish them on, KDP, and Barnes& and Noble is, Wally Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew of this author. A year ago, I didn't know I'd never heard of this person. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him or not,
No.
but he writes phenomenal he has some phenomenal work, and the story that I, was kept on seeing on TikTok and, different places, saying that it was so good, but it made him cry, it was so sad, was The River Is Waiting, and I tell you what, I sobbed, barreled over crying, like, the last 30 pages of it. And the way that he writes and the determination that he has, and he came from being somebody who was all he was a correctional officer in a jail, in a prison, locking people up and locking people out.
Right.
And he had the same kind of passion that I did. He had to put it to work, and that story that he wrote, plus him and his personal story, inspired me to just put it out there. Just go ahead and get it going. That it's never too late
Right.
and you're never too old, you're never too young. Just do it. Just do it. If you want to do it, just do it. If you've ever thought about it, just go and do it.
That is absolutely inspiring. And then you did mention that you told your mom after the fact of publishing, and then she became
Yes.
your biggest fan. And how did
Yes,
that
she
reaction happen?
well, it was the first one and it probably was it's not my proudest novel. It's the Midnight Ledger. And that I was going to make that a series and I possibly still am. I just haven't decided yet. But, I feel like I was too repetitive in it, and it was my first one, and I just wanted to get something out there because I knew that I needed to take the leap, and I knew that if it wasn't now, I never would because I'm a procrastinator kinda
Hmm.
Me too.
sometimes,
Me
and
too.
so, yeah, and so when I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to her, she was like, I could tell her reaction was kinda, like, stunned, like, she was like, "What?" "Oh my god, that's wonderful," and then she was like, everyone that's come out, she's like, "Oh," she goes right and she buys the hard copy every single time. Like, I mean, she's my biggest fan and she's so proud of me, and me being an only child, it just I'd really never did anything big growing up besides have kids,
Right.
young at that, but, not that I just did it to make her proud, I did it for myself too to prove that I could do it, but it made her so very, very proud, and she tells everybody that'll listen about my books, everybody.
That is amazing. And when you write your stories, because like they are really detailed and they are like rich and with texture. So where do you find your inspiration for these stories? Is it real life experiences, people you've known, unexpected moments?
Um, I really, like I said, I write things down that I think about, I'm one of those types of people that when I get in the shower, I think about really crazy, weird stuff. I'm a weird individual, okay? In a good way, in a good way. I don't mean that in a bad way, but,
Yeah, same
I
way.
think about, like, I think about random stuff like, do cows pray? Or, I was reading one the other day that somebody said that they think about how does a school bus with 2, seats with 4 people across the road, plus an aisle down the middle, and a car, a sedan with just a two-seater. How do we share the same road? How is that possible? How do we do
Right.
that? So it's the small things like that, and that's the weird stuff that I think about too, like just the random things that keeps you really doesn't keep the average person up at night, probably keeps the weird person up at night, but I just think of weird stuff, and so, like, when you think about, the story of, Stone and Trigger,
Hmm.
my second one, you think about, okay, they fell in love, off of coffee in Seattle. She spilled coffee on him, and, you know, they end up, marrying and stuff and buying a house and stuff and moving in together and all this good stuff, and, she ends up getting pregnant, but she has a miscarriage. And then she, has to get over that, but then ends up getting pregnant again. And then again, they have 2 children, but then they find out later on that they both, mother and father, have terminal cancer. They both get it.
Mm.
So those are types of things that I think about because it can happen. It's not that it's never happened. I
It
mean, I don't
most
know of a
likely does
story. I
happen.
haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like, what does somebody do? What does somebody? And yeah, it is fiction, but what does somebody do when that happens? Is it really? It's not about the cancer at all. It's about what you do with that, and what happens after that. And it's in that whole story was about community. It takes a village to raise a child. You got to be all in, and you got to make plans. And does love hold it all? Do you love until the end? And that's really what the story is about. And so I just grab my inspiration from just thoughts that I have like that, and I'll piece it together, and I'll be like, oh, this will make a great story. And so that's what I've just started writing about is, just things that I had in my mind that were just kind of strange and weird, or to some, and then I run with it. I don't even plan out my characters or anything. I just run with it. I don't even know where they're at the beginning of the story. I don't know where it's going to end up. I don't. To be honest with you, I have no clue where it's going to end up.
Very
I just go
interesting.
with it. Yeah,
Do you ever feel like you get pulled into the emotional depth of what you're writing?
absolutely.
I feel like some of these are
The other
really
night I
heavy.
was yeah. Yeah, and the one that I'm writing now, the 1983 Prelude to Tragedy. I found myself that writing the other night, I was writing the tragedy scene, in the novel, and and it happened also when I wrote the time that the 2 characters got married, and reading their vows, and I cried. I got very much, and these people become real to you. They
Right.
don't, it's personal, like, and I don't, my husband never sees me write. And I write in a very odd way too, like, there's some things I might think of on the whim, and I'm not even in the middle of just writing in my writing zone, and I have to either text it into, like, a note or
Just
something to
get it
put it
out of
into the
you.
story. Like, I do a lot of that. I do a lot of it on my phone because I just wanna be in the moment with it. When it comes to mind, I wanna put it in there, and that's what I do, and then it just forms together.
Oh, I love that. It's like putting it in its rawest form and like capturing it and then saving it for when you can use it. I like that a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's how a lot of my stories have come together, I might have planned out one, and like I said, I don't plan it out, but I might have say I was in chapter 3 and I was like, "Okay, well, then I know what's gonna happen in chapter 5." And then that is not what all happens in chapter 5 because something has happened between then and there that it makes me wanna change my whole, story, the whole, trajectory of where it's gonna go. Um
Right.
and I guess that's what makes my writing kinda unique, and maybe there's others that write like that, but I feel like just going with it, that's what we do in life, right? So why wouldn't we
Right.
want a fictional book to be the same way? so we could say it's real and raw, and it really came from me. Like, I didn't plan this out. I didn't plan these characters out. I had no idea how these characters were gonna be. All I planned was their names, and that was it, and where they was gonna start, and ran with it.
That's
So,
very interesting.
and yeah, it's fun like that too. It's really fun. It is
Oh, I
fun
bet.
doing it like that, and then having asking opinions of others too, like, "Hey, I'm in this, like, part in my story where this is going on. What do you think I should do here?" You know?
That
So,
is fun.
yeah, it is.
And that really read into my next question because I was gonna say like I can definitely see how the story can develop like that, but do you also do the characters like that? But I guess you just answered that. Even the characters for you, you don't meticulously plan a character. You have the character and it builds with the story. Is that am I getting it correct?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, what I do is I decide what kind of characters I'm gonna have and, like, what setting. I decide what the main focus is gonna be and, like, what the main, like, topic or main, like, okay, like, for my 1983, I'll give you a little hint of it. My
Nice.
1983, A Prelude to Tragedy, it's about a girl. It's, of course, born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the same street that I was, came home from the hospital in, where my mom and dad were when my mom had me, on Arnold Street in, Elliott. And, she comes up from there and, her mom wants her to go and work at a bank when she gets out of high school, and marry a
Mm-hmm.
guy and just start a family. She just wants to be the
Right.
normal thing that, like, people back then probably would have done, or,
Right.
went and worked as a secretary somewhere, but she didn't want that. She wanted something beyond that. Like, she couldn't stand just the same repetitiveness. So she joined the army.
I love that.
And in basic training, she ended up meeting someone, although they didn't get together then. They get together a way later. They end up getting married and stuff like that. But that's all I'm gonna give away on that part.
That
But
sounds good.
it's just, I knew that I wanted something military. And I knew that I wanted it to be a very passionate love story, like a love story that most dream of.
Right.
And just being that person's best friend and just like, and I wanted to have a lot about them first, so this book is going to be over 100,000 words
Oh, nice.
when it is finished. It's almost finished. I have a couple more things to do with it and then it will be released on the 31st, but um
Oh, so close.
it's topping
Yeah.
over 100,000 words. It's a big one.
It's absolutely something to look up to. All right. And
Yes.
I wanted to ask um in your creative process, which is you would say your favorite part of it? Is it that when you storm the story as it develops? Is it when you like polish little details in the characters? Is it what is your favorite part in the creative process?
I don't know if I have a favorite part because every part is favorite to me. Like, I just because I'm always thinking about writing something else. Like, and I haven't, like, I've not been this way forever. Like, when I decided this is what I wanted to do and I had so many ideas,
Hmm.
and when I realized that how much I loved writing stories and not just poetry, when it became like a thing to me that's like a hobby now. It's like I can come home from work and I can just decide to write some stuff, take my notes that I've already gathered through the week. I mean, I'll be at work and be like, I've got to go to the restroom real quick because something will come to my mind. And, I'll just have to go like text it into my phone, like that idea that I'm going to put in there later, when I get home or whatever. It happens all the time. And like, so I think all of it, just the thought of it. And I think it's something I think about all the time. We have a lot of times as humans to think, and my mind races with different ideas in different ways. If I'm working on a story, like what way it can go. And it was just
Right.
for fun. I didn't ever think anybody would ever see it. Nobody would ever, it would never be on Amazon for sale. You know what I mean? Ever. I didn't ever think that. I just did it because it was something I enjoyed to do. And I enjoy all of it. To be honest with you, I enjoy every single bit of it.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really like woven into your everyday world view and aspects of your life everywhere, which is really great because then you can truly like enjoy it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and, well, now that you say that, I really like the research. Like, if there's something like I've had to do a lot of researching about the, Korea in 1983, you know what I mean? Like, what was
Right.
going on as far as, like, political rest then, because when they get stationed when my 2 characters get stationed in Korea, I need to know those types of things. So I like, I had to do a lot of research about cancer with the stone and trigger. Um, it
Okay.
I like the research. I like to learn the things that it's not just I just throw them in there and they're there. I have to do a lot of research on it too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm sure
can't
you
just
like
talk about something that I think I know I'm talking about and not be right.
right,
That would be
right,
embarrassing.
and I think it's just like the chase of the new information. You would just like the thrill of finding that new information
Yes.
is satisfying for
And being
sure.
like, yeah, I know how to
Yes,
use
it
it.
is. Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
All right, and then looking across all your work, what recurring themes do you feel that keeps pulling in you or pulling you in?
Spiritual,
Hmm,
definitely spiritual. Because if you even Rule in the Roost, it is a dark comedy, um, crazy comedy, psycho comedy, if you ask me. It's all over the place. But, even that has a spiritual, um, light to it. Everything and I want it to have a spiritual I want it to I want people to feel it in their heart whenever they're reading it. Like, this could be my family, or I could be sitting here watching this as a sitcom, on a Friday night, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
right.
wanted them to be able to see a movie in their mind whenever they're reading my books. I don't want them to just, I know that I've read several books throughout the years, and, like, when I was a kid, like, in school, that I would be reading a paragraph, and I would be thinking about something completely different in my mind the whole time, you know? Um, I don't want people to do that. I want you to be able to read my book and read it through and, like, see what you're reading in your mind, and it play out basically a movie and, that you're not distracted on something else. So that I hope that I've done that, and I hope that I continue to do that, or I continue to do it better as time goes on.
That is beautiful. And how do you do that? How do you weave these like deep elements, like the spiritual connections, the grief, the high stakes, into your stories to keep it still emotional and relatable?
Um, I think that if you're writing something, whether it be poetry, whether it be a story, I feel like if you're not crying and you're not being pulled at the heartstrings, neither are your readers. I mean,
That's so
that's
good.
for me anyway.
I feel the same way. I
If
feel the
I'm
same
if
way.
I'm writing something and I'm getting emotional and I've got tears coming out of my eyes and I'm almost barreled over crying because I'm writing it, then that says something. It's not just because I'm an emotional person, because I'm really not that much. But when I'm writing something, writing is a beautiful thing, and you can express yourself so much by just writing something down on a piece of paper, making
True.
a song, writing a song. There's so many things. It's so expressive, and your world is endless with that. There's so many stories you could tell.
Agreed.
There's so many emotions you could put out there, and it's just putting the right words together to get the right emotion. And if I'm pulling from it, then I know the people that read and finish my books will
Right.
feel
That
that
is
same way.
absolutely true. Yes, 100% true. What would you say has been the biggest challenge you faced in in your writing or getting your books out there to the world?
Probably, like, the people that never knew that I did this, and not just my mom, because my mom, always knew she would support me no matter what, but, like, at Thanksgiving, I seen my oldest son, and his wife, for Thanksgiving, and, my mom's got the four of the books laying there, on her end table, and I go walk them over to my oldest son, and I was like, I handed him to him, I was like, "I wrote these, like, I don't really know what else to say." You know what I'm saying? And he's like,
I love it.
"Yeah, you sure did."
I
Like,
feel like I would be the
"What are
same
you
way.
doing?" Yeah, like, "You're weird." But,
You have poems too?
it's just yeah, and I mean, that's the way I feel. It's like I don't know what to say to people, like, they're like, "What is your hobby? What do you do?" I write books. I like to write novels. I like to write. I mean, I've published 4 books so far, like, what do they care, It's like and so I take, my son and, like, just telling people that know me the way that they know me, and they're just like, "You did what?" So it's been that's about the most challenging thing, and writer's block sometimes. But,
Mm,
ChatGPT, I don't do AI, but, ChatGPT is really good for asking for advice for these things as far as, like, writer's block.
you absolutely read my
Because he
mind.
can tell you yeah,
Bouncing
he can
ideas.
tell you, like, places that yeah, and he can tell you even websites to go to or forums to find things, it's not just him giving you or him or her, whatever it is, giving you, the answers. It's just, where do I go? What could I do to get this idea, And so I consult a lot of things with ChatGPT. Me and him are pretty close. We're pretty tight. And also for research, I use him a lot too.
Right.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. Like
Yeah.
I was saying you read my mind because that was really my next question. Is that like one of the things that we found with like many of the writers that we talk to is that they all go through that writer's block. Even with other artists too, they have that artist block, and I think this is really smart because it's this is one thing that ChatGPT can be used for is to like brainstorm things or research things. You don't want it to write things for you because that would be horrid, but it would actually give you
Yeah.
good ideas.
Right. Well, and I think too, because
Yeah,
like
I
if
don't
you think it, like the box is huge of like the information that it has to like go places with it,
Yes, absolutely.
So it's not like a
Absolutely.
small website you're looking at where like the only information you're seeing is what's on the
Right.
website. So I think that really helps too, because you
Right.
can pull from so
Yeah,
many.
absolutely.
No, I
Yeah, and I've, when I was first, like my first novel, I didn't know I had to do research on a word processor and everything, and it's best for me to just use, Google Docs for the
right.
most part, and I've had to do a spell check and do my punctuation because that's just as good because I didn't know, I was very naive, and I ran my first book through, it wasn't ChatGPT, it was one of those other ones that just, like, basically checks your work, makes sure all your punctuation's correctly,
Oh yeah.
and they were changing my darn story, and I was like, "No, we're
Oh.
not about to do that. You're not doing this changing my story."
Yes, and
Like
that's what we hear a lot, especially like in the author groups when they do try to like send that their like text to just like have it make sure that the grammar is right or the spelling is right. It ends up changing
mhm.
words, changing the stories, changing
Yeah,
even
it does,
characters.
it does. Yeah, and I'm like, "No, we're not about to do this. No, we're not
Right.
about to
Right.
do this." Yeah, no, and I am glad that I caught it, but, and I just went back to my original. I just like, I'm just gonna have to go the long route about it and just use my good old trusty, Google Docs because that's
Right.
the best thing you can do. I mean, it might take a little bit more time, but, if you're self-publishing, you really don't have another choice unless
Right.
you wanna pay a whole bunch of money to let someone else do it,
Right. Yeah,
Right.
and
Which
others
is
actually like keep doing like the long route with they so like they read what it says and they keep arguing with it and they keep till it gets it right and it gets it right at the end. So I guess that's what matters, right? As long as it gets right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, and let's maybe talk about the publishing part. So what has been your experience with publishing, and what would give as an advice for somebody that is maybe hesitant about self-publishing or something like
Um, Self-publishing can be good if you're I mean, nobody knows if they're gonna, be like, I don't know, um, Frida McFadden. Nobody knows if they're gonna be like Stephen King.
that? Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows if they're gonna be these if you're just gonna take off or somebody's just gonna notice your work automatically. I think that KDP and, Barnes& and Noble is a great place to start off.
Right.
But if you're not too tech savvy as far as, like, your book format, I suggest to start with KDP first and then move to Barnes& and Nobles later because Barnes& and Nobles has a very complex they don't want you uploading because KDP has a program where it formats your book.
Mm-hmm.
Barnes& and Noble does not, so you have to figure that out, and they do not want you giving them a KDP format, you know what I mean? They
Right.
don't want you giving them that because they will be able to tell. They
Right.
will also give you a free ISBN with it, which is really good. But I think it's a great place to start out because, I mean, you can if you do an ebook, you can, sign up for Kindle Unlimited as far as, like, your book is concerned, and people who have Kindle Unlimited will be able to access that book free.
Right.
My
Right.
first 4 that I did that way, my 5th one, I'm not gonna do that way. I'm gonna do the ebook, but I'm not going to put it in,
The unlimited.
for the free KDP because then that just means that most people are downloading your book and they're not even reading them.
Makes sense.
I mean, for a lot of people, so But
And I
but
think
it's a good place to start
it locks it when you put it in KDB Unlimited. It locks it to KDB or the
for
start
90
page.
days. Yeah,
Oh,
for
90 days.
90 days, yeah. Yeah, 90 days, and then you can opt out again.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's a great place to start if it's something you're wanting to do and you're really passionate about it. It's not for somebody, I don't think, who's wanting to get rich off of writing just to get rich off of writing, but if
Right.
you're passionate about it and you wanna get your work out there, it's a great place to start, I promise you. No money, you don't have to have any money up front. You can get author books for very, very, very low prices. I mean, it's worth it in the end, in the long run, it's really worth it to get your at least your work out there because you can buy your own books to go and sell at a bookstore, have a book signing, you know what I mean? You
Right.
you can do
True.
all that. Yeah.
True.
So,
All right.
great
Now,
place to start.
absolutely. Now, looking at your books, since you started till now, you have the fifth book
Mm.
coming in the way. How would you say that your writing style have evolved?
Um, I could say, I don't know. I guess someone who read my books could maybe tell me more than me because I don't really know. I guess because I've done the same thing. I'd like to think that I w I guess you could say, like, when you first start out writing, I guess you could say that when you start out doing anything, you start playing an instrument, you start, anything that you do, it's gonna be on the rough edges at first,
Right.
and you're always gonna look at something that you did 5, 10 times, better than you did the first time. So I'm sure that it's changed. I feel like the quality of it has changed. Probably my wording on some things because sometimes if I'm trying to explain something, sometimes I go a weird way around it. It might
Right.
be hard for some, it might not be hard for some, but my husband tells me all the time, "Well, geez, you didn't have to say all that. You could have just told me this." You know what I mean? Like, and
Fair.
it just
You told
happens
us
that way
to.
sometimes. I
You
mean, I
told
can't
us
help it.
to.
That's who I am. Yeah. Yeah. So I go around my elbow to get to my, rear, but that's just how I am sometimes.
Right. We
But
just
I,
gotta
I'm,
spiral into
you know,
it.
yeah. And I feel like I'm double checking and triple checking a lot too. On these last couple ones, I know for Ruling the Roost and the one that I'm doing now, the 1983 Prelude to Tragedy. I'm doing a lot of proofreading more than I did. I mean, I did proofreading, of course, with all the others, but I'm saying like I'm double and triple checking and making sure that I'm not repeating myself, that I've already said something about one chapter that, I go in another chapter and forget that I've already wrote that and then say something else about it again, and repeat myself. So I'm double checking that and stuff. Not to say that I did it in my other ones, but I have read some books where it seems to be the case for some people. Um,
Right. So
and
just
these are authors
refining.
that have been around a long time. Yeah, I mean, and it happens, it does happen. But I just wanna make sure that the quality's out there, and I wanna make sure that it grips somebody, and I wanna make sure that I'm not making anybody bored
Right.
through my writing, where I didn't pay attention, much of that first because I just knew I had written it and I wanted to get it out there. But, more of, I don't want my reader to get bored. I want them to stay with me. So,
Fair. And would you say of your all your books, which character across all your books do you relate to the most?
I'd have to say, let me think here. I'd have to say the one that I'm writing now, Lena,
Hmm?
A Prelude to Tragedy in 1983. Lena, the main character, I resonate with her a lot, a whole lot, because there's been many a times in my life where I just didn't know what direction I was going in.
Right.
I've battled addiction, in my earlier life. I've I've overcome that. I've things with my kids. Trials and error, just everything, losing my father back in 2012. I know 2013, gosh, I said 2012, 2013. Um, and and every year it never gets easier. It feels
Absolutely.
like it gets harder for some reason. Yeah, and I feel like, and the relationship she has with her mother, I feel like there's been bumpy parts in mine and my mother's life, but that wasn't on her doing. That was really on my doing because I was stubborn and didn't know any better and thought that I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and I really wasn't, and so probably Lena. Yeah, Lena, I resonate with her a lot, and probably if I had to choose anybody else, it would be, the, ocean in, Ocean's Light, because I've always felt like I've had a spirit guiding me, and I feel like I can hear them
Mm,
speak to me sometimes, like, you don't need to do that, you don't need," um, and I feel like that could be, something too, and I feel like sometimes if we listen to that little voice, it can ruin things and it can make things great for us. It can go both ways. So,
right.
with a whole lot if I ever write a memoir, then I'll get into that, but but, I'm sure there's some people that can relate to that.
Makes sense. All right. So let's start with your books. So, what was your first book that you wrote and published?
It was The Midnight Ledger.
And this is the
The
one,
Midnight Ledger led
the corporate high stakes
the
kind of fraud, right?
Yes. Yes, fraud, yes, and it's all over the place the whole It's
Yes.
really
This.
all over the place. I think that I wanted to put so much in there. I feel like I overkilled on that one. I'm being my own worst critic. I
I want to
overkilled on
say
that one, I'm not gonna lie.
I want to say this one probably of like the one that's like stood out to me personally the most first, just because like my like personally I do work as an analyst as an auditor, so like that stood out to me. I was like, all right, this is the one I'm gonna start with, of course. So yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, I'm glad. I just felt like I was really repetitive in it, and I felt like I don't know, I just felt like I don't know, I guess because it was my first one, I really didn't even know. I guess
Mm.
that's really still don't
I
know because,
didn't.
I mean, I haven't been doing this long, so
Fair enough. I mean I
it's
started
you
it
know,
and I loved so far, but I will definitely give you my honest feedback for sure.
I really do appreciate it. I really hope you do because I need to know, I was reading in Reddit posts the other day about beta readers, and I never even knew that that was a thing, like,
And now that
you
I know that
know,
it was your first book, I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind.
yeah, yeah, 'cause, like yeah, it's like I don't even remember, I was just wanting to get it out there, and I was like, "Oh, this will be a good one," because, like I said, I've got several that are already written and ready to go. It's just I can't decide
Hmm.
what I wanna do with those, you know what I mean? I don't know if they're as good as the other ones or if they'll resonate with people, and I'm sure that they will to some point, and not that that's the only thing I'm worried about, because I wanna put it out just because I made it,
Right.
and I will do that eventually. It's just I don't know which one whenever it's time the right time is when it will be the right time for me to publish those other ones.
That makes absolute sense. Yes, I think just the beginning of it is really like captivating. It got me hooked because I do have interest in this world or in this environment. So it definitely
Mhm.
like got me hooked.
Resonated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I resonated with that one.
Right,
What was your second book?
right. The second one was Stone and Trigger,
Oh,
The Incredible Story of Stone and Trigger, yeah. And then the third one was Ocean's Light, and then the fourth one was, Ruling the Roost, and then, of course, my 1983, A Prelude to Tragedy, will be my fifth. Um, that has been published, not the fifth that has been written, but just published and put out there.
got it.
Yeah.
All right. And then let me see. And then I did take some notes here, and especially also in your comments, in the submission form. One of your big motivations for writing and publishing, as you just like we're mentioning right now, wasn't about getting rich. It was about proving to yourself you can create something, you can do it, right? So
Mhm.
I want to say, like now that you have 5 books out, how does that feel now, and how do you keep your motivation going?
Um, it feels good. It feels really good that I've done that. I made myself proud first and foremost. But I know it will. I have great faith in all my heart that it will fall into the right hands eventually. My book will fall across the desk or in hands of
Right.
somebody that can make changes and can see it and whether, it doesn't even there's some people that, there's some authors that will put out a book on KDP, like a little small little, little artist that is only to put out one book, and somebody will come along and say, "Hey, we want to give you a movie deal because we want to make a movie out of your book." You never know what it could be. It could
Right.
be, "Oh, we want to put you on something bigger. Oh, we want to make a movie out of your book. Oh, we want to, we want to make a television show out of you." We want to do a document. You never know. It might not just be putting your book on a bigger platform. There might be other things that somebody it falls into the hands and they're like, "Oh, wow, this is gonna be good for something else. This is gonna be really good for this or that." Um,
Makes
you
absolute
you
sense.
never know. Yeah,
Actually,
you really.
I came across one way that I really never thought of, and it happened through my work. We had this like a program or a course that they give for like people that are going to be managers, and in order to start that that course, they hand out like a book, and I thought that was like one great way of getting your books out there. Like this is almost as good as making these kinds of deals, because like this is big bank, and every single manager in there gonna have to get a copy of your book before like they step into being a manager. I thought that was what a great way. Like I never thought of that.
Oh, yeah, that is good. Yeah, that's a good
That's
way.
amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, if you're doing KDP, like, you can get a paperback for, like, $3 for if you're doing buying author copies, and you can go and sell those at a book sale, or you can go take them to your local bookstore and see if they'll let you put them in there to,
Yeah, yeah.
put out. I mean,
Actually,
and
yeah,
you wouldn't have to have many,
absolutely. It can be just one book,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
Actually,
mean,
that
just to
was
get
the
your
case when I asked like for in the bank, like how did that come about? It was really all about word of mouth. It wasn't anything other than just a word of mouth.
Yeah,
I thought
and
was
I
great.
mean, well, that's what I'm saying. I just started a new job. I'm a retail banker now, so props to
Interesting.
me. But yeah, exactly. And so we were in our little Zoom class, and they were asking us what our hobbies were and stuff, and I told her, I like to write. I've published, some books, and she was like, we like to read over here. So I'm
Right,
thinking about
right.
sending those girls some of my books so they can
You
just read too,
absolutely should.
if they like to read. But I found out the balance of people wanting to read these days is like hit or miss. Sometimes it's either you love to read or you absolutely do not do it at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So,
true.
and so you just gotta find the people that do.
And I honestly found that there are many that would rather just listen to the books. So because
Yeah.
they run out of
Mhm.
songs, they run out of music, they run out of
Podcast.
podcasts,
Yeah.
they just like listen to audiobooks. And I think this is
Yes.
also a good way.
Oh, yeah, that is good, and I would love to be able to do that one day, to put one of mine on audiobook, because that's how I had to finish, reading, The River Is Waiting, because I just couldn't. I needed to be able to move around while I was listening, or reading. And so, it was a good experience being able to do that as well. And that might be a reason too why I cried and sobbed the past 30 pages of it. Um, I mean, I have a feeling I would have done it either way because he just writes so well. But you know, I do love audio. I listen to an
Right.
unhealthy amount of true crime podcast and regular true crime too, an unhealthy amount.
I think our
I'm
favorite
afraid of my
is
own shadow
Obama.
sometimes.
I'm pretty sure our favorite to listen to is Obama. Like anything he's narrating, we end up watching and we're like, "Oh yeah, this really hits."
This is like the way he like lay it
I
down on you,
know,
right?
it's
Like
so weird.
articulate or
Oh, goodness.
I know. He's like a
That's funny.
siren. Like,
Right?
I don't know.
Right?
It's just his voice.
I'm telling you. Mr. Ballin scares me every time. I'm like,
something.
I'm on my way to work, and I'm like, "Am I really sure I wanna go in today after hearing that?" It's like it'll scare you right up.
Right. Um, I would say I want to say that your core message is so inspiring because you said, and I quote, your right now situation does not determine your tomorrow. You can go from having nothing to inspiring others. It's all about the journey and the lessons you carry forward. End quote. How do your
Mhm.
books reflect that idea of transformation and not repeating past mistakes?
Mm, I don't that's a hard question right there.
Mhm.
Um, I guess I don't I guess my message for that is or was or will be, and I will continue to always say that you could be a nobody today and be somebody tomorrow. Not to say that anybody's a nobody. I don't mean it like that.
Right,
But, you could be homeless today and you might be thinking, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do?" And you might be feeling hopeless and ready to just give up and throw in the towel. Believe me, I've been there. I've been there, I've been there, I've been there. I've been there more than once too. Um, I've been around. So, hey, I'm 45 years old, so, like, I've experienced a lot. Um, and I hope to experience way much more. But there was times where I wanted to throw in the towel, and just give up and it wasn't that I even had my eye set on anything. It was just, of having the repetitiveness of having to go through some type of hell on earth, either being homeless or being, a horrible job that you hated to come into every day, just no matter what it might be.
right,
You might be in that situation right then, but if you're listening to this now and you are in that situation, just know that a week from now, 6 months from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, you can be in a different spot, and this might not be the first time that you're down. You might be down again because that's just what's in your cards. You know what I mean? And you just need to if you take the lessons from it, from your life, if you take lessons from what you are put through in life, or what we really put ourselves through a lot of the times, if we take those lessons and we learn from them, it doesn't mean that we're not gonna make the same mistake again. We might because there's another lesson for us to learn, but, if you don't take anything from it, that is the mistake. That's where you repeat the things repetitively on and again, and you're stuck in a hole for 60 years and you can't get out. You know, just take it for what it's worth, and if you have something that you wanna do and you have something that you love to do and you have a hobby, I don't care what it is. If you're wanting to make rubber band rings and sell them, I don't care what it is. Do it.
Right. That's
Just
really
go
well
and do
said.
it. It could change your life, you never know.
that is absolutely beautiful, and I couldn't agree
That's
anymore.
what
Well said.
Yeah, that's the difference between today and tomorrow. Honest to God, that is the difference between today and tomorrow.
I guess my question on
You
that one
know,
is how were you able to bounce back? How were you able to do that? Because I feel like this is the hardest part. Is that like being able to wake up and tell yourself this is not the end. There's more.
I was listening to your first published author from the other day. I was listening to your interview
Romulus.
from him. Yes, yes. And I remember him saying something. He said he said that he resonated with it with one of his characters too. Is he just keeps pushing forward. You just get up every day and you put one foot in front of the other and you just keep on going. And no matter how hard it might seem, no matter how many tears you might shed, no matter how many times you say in your mind, "I don't wanna do this, I don't feel like doing this, I can't do this, I can't do this," put one foot in front of the other and do it. Get up and get dressed and just do it. If you don't have a job right now and you're looking for a job and you feel like, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do?" Um, get up, put one foot in front of it, whether it's just making small baby steps, just get up and do it. Don't hold yourself back because when we stay, we hold ourselves back and we don't I'm not and my life right now is far from perfect. It will never be perfect because nobody's life is ever gonna be perfect.
Right.
It's not gonna happen. Anybody that has that expectation is lying to themselves, and you might as well
True.
just, come to the face the facts that that's not life, you know what I'm saying? That's not how normal people live. That's not here on earth, that's
right.
just the way it is. Our world is crazy, our world is wacky, we are weird, we're one, and you know what I mean? We all have the same fears, whether we wanna believe it or not, we all have the same fears, we all have the same, dreams, and, you know, the people that get it and the people that are out there striving are the people that go and grab it, and there's nothing holding you back than you're any different from the next person because you can go get it just like they did.
Right.
There's nothing
We're
different.
our biggest own enemy sometimes.
Exactly. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Yes, exactly. Like you can have the home and you can have this, or you can have the apartment or the good job or whatever you want. You can go and publish a book. You can go put your art out there. You can go put your music out there. Who cares if you think it sounds like crap? Okay, whatever. Still put it out there because you know what? Somewhere along the line somebody's into that.
Right.
It just it
100%.
is I mean, I'm being real. I mean, it is. It is what it is, and
True.
it doesn't matter what you have everybody has something to offer for the world to the world because if you didn't, you wouldn't be here.
Beautiful.
Plain and simple. You wouldn't be here.
Yes.
Just
You
put one
have
foot in front of the other.
and you have the first question from our viewers. We have Trisky asking you a question. He says, "What part of the writing process challenged you the most, and how did it change you as a writer?"
And not knowing how to put well, I can't really say that. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. Not knowing if the way that I was putting my words was the right way to put words in writing a book. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because when you read a book, you have to assume that the person who got it published and has it out there and you went and bought it, they have all these teams and stuff for them, you know what I mean? You don't know, they might have started out just like you, and then somebody came along that, was had more qualifications and said, "No, no, 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 that sounds good, but we need to do it this way. It's gonna sound the same, but it's gonna look a little bit different, polish it up a little bit." If you're self-publishing, I guess you really don't know if you're like, you put it out there and be like, "Oh, this is all wrong." "I did this, and this was horrible." Even though it sounds good, it's all messed up. Um, I guess just making sure that, I put it out there and, at that there was a point in time that came that I didn't really care. I mean, I cared, but I didn't it was what I wrote, and I was putting it out regardless,
Right. That
whether
was
it
the
was,
focus, right?
yeah, it edited right or whether it was, or whether I titled it right or whether I wrote my name in the right place when I designed the cover, it was all, who cares? I'm putting it out there and that's that. And that's what I'm doing because this is what I want. It came from me and I want to give you, the world, what I've written, and I hope that you take the chance to read it and share and sit around with the characters that I've made and have a hoot and a holler or have a cry, um, or have a good memory. Maybe it'll give you a good memory, or maybe it'll help you get over something, you never know.
Right. I like
All
that.
books
That's
do
really
that to
great.
people yeah, people do that all the time with books, I hear people say all the time, "Well, this book changed me," or "This book changed me," and it does. Reading changes people,
It
just
does.
like music does. It does. It heals you.
Absolutely. I like. I always like this
Yeah.
question to our authors. If you could collaborate with any author, past or present, who would it be, and what kind of story would you create together?
If I could, this is probably gonna sound like a really, really weird one because I don't know if a lot of you probably have heard of him, but Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob. He's not. I mean, he's written a lot. He's a writer and director, but I mean, he's close up there with probably Judy Blume. Um, Probably yeah, close up there. But probably Kevin Smith because he is an absolute genius, and I absolutely love him. I think he's hilarious. I think that when he wrote Clerks 1 and Clerks 2, Dogma, Chasing Amy, those were really stories that could have been books before they were movies, you know what I mean? And they were in an art form like no other. And he gave something in my life that I didn't even know I needed, you know what I mean? When I
Mhm.
started watching his movies and reading his work, and, like, he writes comics and everything, but I would so like to write a drama with him.
Oh,
It would be amazing because he's an amazing person, he's an amazing writer, he's an amazing creator, um, just love his work, love his work. Yeah, love it, love it, love it.
beautiful. Kevin
Between
Smith.
him and Judy Blume. Yeah, Kevin Smith,
Absolutely.
yep, mhm. Yeah, if you don't
And
know who Kevin Smith is, you need to go find out because he's great.
and typically my question after that, but I would say you probably answer it, but let me say it anyways, which is if there is another book that you would not your own that you would recommend to other. I remember that you or recall that you mentioned Wally Lamb,
Mhm.
The River is Waiting, correct?
hmm Yes, and I would also like to, and let me tell you two more. And some
Mm-hmm.
people, and I didn't read this book until, and a lot of people read it in their, middle school and elementary school. But Judy Bloom, "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." That's the one everybody needs to read. And then the last one, the a newer one that I've read, or I'm halfway through it actually. I haven't read the whole thing, but it's phenomenal, and it is Stephen King, 11/22/63. Go out and
Oh
get it.
yes,
Go get amazing, 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 amazing. It deserves like a million stars.
I
It's
agree.
great.
I did read
I
that.
love it.
It's really good.
Is it not phenomenal? It's
It is
like
amazing.
something so different, but
Amazing.
it's like it takes everybody's mind where it wants to go in thinking about those things like time travel. So it's great. Love it. Yes.
And what message would you share with your readers that read your books for the first time?
Um, if you're wanting, you know what? Not even if you're wanting it. If you like to read, if you like to read and you like the quirky side of all, you like the quirky side of life, if you like the weird things in life, if you like, because even in my tragedies, there's still funny parts. I promise you, I'll always deliver that.
That's good.
Um, yeah, you wanna feel good about a book, you wanna read a book that you're gonna think about it. I feel like you're gonna think about it even a years later or, a week later, or you the one you can't stop thinking about, go read my books. Give me a chance. I might be a little bitty nobody in little old state of South Carolina that really works at a bank and has, a husband and a cat and has my grandchildren all the time, but, um, I I really put my heart and my soul into my books, and I don't think personally that I put out anything that I wouldn't read myself if I wasn't me, you know what I mean? And I was reading it and somebody else had wrote it. I feel like they're really, really good books, and I feel like if you read it, you won't be disappointed, I promise, and I'll just keep on giving you more and more and more, and hopefully I'll get better and better and better, and, maybe you might see my name big somewhere one day, who knows? And if you don't, that's okay too. I'm gonna keep on doing it. I'm not gonna stop just because I don't get that big chance. I'm gonna keep on going.
Well said. And for viewers who are listening to us today, who will tune in later, where can they find your books? Where should they follow you online? And how can they connect with you, of course, other than our Discord, since you are in our Discord?
Okay. Yeah, I have all my books are published on Amazon. Amazon. You can go there. You can look up Michelle Manning. Um, I let's see. I have an author profile there. Also, I haven't got on Goodreads yet. I still have to send them some things. Um, Also, Barnes and Nobles. There's a couple on that are going to come there soon. I'm just finishing up my stuff for that. And you can find me on TikTok. My name, is, Miss Plumbob on TikTok. I put a lot of my new books that I'm gonna put out. I'll put like a video or like a slideshow, presentation out for that. Um, and yeah, just, if you wanna if somebody wants to collab with me, if you read my books and you wanna collab and you wanna write a book with me, let me know because I would love to do that. That would
Let's do.
be a really good thing. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I wanna write something with somebody else and put 2 creative minds and see what we can come up with. Um, but yeah, go to KDP, not KDP, I keep on saying KDP. Go to Amazon, look up Michelle Manning, and you'll see all my books there under my profile. Um, 3, no, 4 of them you can get free if you have the Amazon, Kindle Unlimited, account. If you have that subscription, you can get those first 3, 4 free. My 5th one will not be free on there. It will be a charge on there because I will not have it for a Kindle Unlimited. But, all of my books are at a very, very I don't sell them for a very, very high price. I just I do it just to enough to print, and there you go. So, if you wanna read a good book at a low price, just go and grab one of my books and tell me what you think. Give me your honest opinion. The
Sounds
1
good.
star or 5 stars.
Sounds great. Um, I typically go ahead. Are you good? Okay. I typically like to end with this question. Was there any question that you expected that I would ask, but I didn't? Or something that you expect I would cover, but I didn't?
No, you actually covered everything. I've actually answered everything that I thought I would when I was reading over the, what you had sent me. I believe you covered everything. I believe that this is very, very fulfilling to me as far as I didn't even know I was gonna do this 2 weeks ago, a month ago, when I started writing these books, but I'm saying it's been very, very fulfilling to me, and I don't know how many people are listening or how many people will listen in the future, but, stick around because I feel like you guys have some more great artists to come to share with the world what they have as well, and, I just really appreciate you having me here, and, you've really it's very, very fulfilling to me. I
Thank
appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. It was absolutely our pleasure. And to speak to your last point about the collab, this is one of the things why that Discord that we made is there, is to give that chance for people in the same field to work together or in different fields. Like narrators, we have voice actors, so they can probably narrate, or artists can probably design covers. Like the whole thing is that we wanted to make that space for people to be able to show their work, have people that actually read their work and watch it, and then give the
Support
chance
each
to
other.
collab,
Yeah.
right? So we
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being here, for being part of this community that we're trying to build. It was absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you guys. And I will be there and I will be in the community and I will not be leaving. And I will make my voice heard too in your chats and all that.
Mhm.
And I will share more stuff with you guys. I've got some art that I do, like on my Procreate that I like to do.
Oh,
I
beautiful.
might even invite my husband over there because he plays
Yes.
guitar. So,
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
yeah. So, I would love and I've wrote a few music scores to piano music score, I guess that's what you call them. I've wrote a
Right.
couple scores too, so I might share those as well.
Yes, please do.
So, yeah, I will, and I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week.
You as well. Thank you for being here.
Alright, thank you guys so much. You guys have a great week and a great Christmas too.
you
You as
too.
well.
Take
Merry Christmas.
care.
Okay. Okay. Alright, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. Well, this was an absolute pleasure. It was as promised. It was full of the books are amazing, guys. I highly recommend that you guys absolutely have to go check it, and you're gonna find the link in the chat down here. Go ahead, check it, buy the book, leave a review. Nothing is better for any author than leaving an honest review. You don't have to even make it 5 star if you don't believe it is 5 star, but make it honest. Make it about what you actually believe after you read the whole book. And the best part is they are all in the Discord. If you have any questions, if you have why did the character do this, why it didn't go that way, or you want to just like give the feedback directly to the person, I would recommend that you leave it in also in Amazon just for the algorithm. It really helps, guys. It really helps. And then you can, of course, welcome to join and have that conversation every day. Um, but yes, you have anything for us, Cobra?
Um, no, not yet.
All right.
But I had a lot of fun. I really,
It was.
really,
It was great.
truly
It was
enjoy
such a
this
great
so
conversation.
much. Yeah. I like getting to know people. I like seeing the person behind their work because you can see how much of their passion and their heart and their soul goes into it.
Right.
And I truly enjoy it.
All right. Same here. I honestly did enjoy it a lot. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. And I would say on the 20th, we
Mhm.
should have an artist. So actually, it should be the 21st. The 21st, we should have an artist. And so tune in for that. Join the Discord. Tune in for the stream and see you guys next time.